It's a time! The package from... No, it's Infinite Retro Power! Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In this video we're going to be doing a little bit of a chit chat about the 4K GameStick X2. And they're claiming to have like a new version. And when there's a new version, of course we're going to be needing to pick it up to see if they're lying or if there's actually something just changed out. So this is a 256GB edition. So let's see, also one of the things that we're going to be having is like a better overall SD card quality. The controllers have been changed out throughout, let's say, newer generations. And that's going to be interesting too, because these horrible PlayStation 2 controllers are so bad. But upgraded controller, yeah, that's not the one of thing they're lying actually. We have an extension, so these things are super convenient because some of these sticks are, this one is very slim, but sometimes it's very difficult to plug it in. If you're going to be looking at the quality, yeah, they're falling apart already. But the point is, okay, they feel very bad. Okay, they were, seriously, like this thing is already getting stuck. So for the battery compartment, we're going to be needing two AAA batteries. I just wanted to give you a quick look how I actually connect everything. So you can see that I'm going to be using an external, this is a 2 amp 5 volt. I would recommend getting a good adapter because sometimes you can just plug it into your monitor, not the case over here, but it still not gives enough juice to power on the stick and will give you problems. But nowadays with the toilet paper manuals, they moved away from those horrible things, giving you a very nice overview how you need to connect everything. And even some explanation how the device works with very tiny letters. So at this point, it's very easy to actually navigate through the menu. So I just put in the batteries, it automatically turns on and configures with, let's say, the device itself. So what you can actually see that we do have all kinds of different systems. So take consideration that a lot of, let's say, devices are not 100% compatible. For example, N64 is going to be a problem because these are like really low powered game sticks. So, but we can actually play some 8-bit, 16-bit or some handhelds like Game Boy Advance. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I will do some testing, but I also want to focus on what's going on. So it's kind of cool to actually have some Sega 32X. And they did put a lot of effort in, let's say, the overall design of, let's say, the menu. Everything looks very cool with just a screenshot. So, but when it comes to, let's say, the menu, you can press select and start over here. And here you can actually see you having BIOS settings, one key back BIOS and all kinds of wicked things. And the language, yeah, this is not English at all. It's still put on, I think it's Chinese. Well, let's see what happens if we go to be in the main menu. And you do have all kinds of options with the emulation, because that's actually what the backend is. And that's great because this means this device is unlocked, so we can just mess around with everything. So we're having, let's see, is it going to be over here, the screen, we can having the G10 it's called, screensavers, we can go into all kinds of stuff like having show favorites. But one of the very nice things I love about it, so we do have Bluetooth enabled, but what I find even more interesting is that we can even mess around with the backend, but you need to be very careful with this. We can enable, disable the bezels if you want to. And another thing that is quite interesting is that the danger zone, I love how they call it there over here, because yeah, it's absolutely dangerous. You can mess up stuff that you don't want to mess up. Let's start off with something really simple. 8-bits like the Master System. I can see that they enabled the filter over it, so everything is going to be looking a little bit different than normal. You know, to have like the pixel craziness. But let's get into the game and you can already hear there is no really big problem when it comes to the overall audio quality. Okay, so I needed to know which button actually to choose. Okay. By pressing select and start will give you the RetroArch menu over here. We can make a quick load, quick save if you want to. If you mess it up like I actually did, you can just make quick load, quick save, and this way we can go back to the menu itself. So fortunate that so what we actually tried that it's going to be having some widescreen shenanigans, so we need to get to the menu to fix that. But so far let's boot it up. So in a system you don't see very often is the Sega 32X, or at least nowadays we do see it more often on this game stick. Yeah, the 32X is not like a massive great library, but a couple of fun games like WWF, WrestleFest or WrestleMania, it's called WrestleMania it was. Also a great test to see if we can actually do some moves. It is possible to actually do moves like with fighting games. The unfortunate part is that not everything has been configured correctly. For example, I wanted to try some PC Engine, absolutely an amazing system, but I was getting the emulation error, getting into the, say, the extra menu, or at least like in the back end to see if I can fix it, but there is no way to actually fix it because I didn't have the option to add a different emulator or mess around with it, you can see. So the reason I'm actually showing you this is because not everything is perfectly configured. And this is just a general problem, I'm guessing. So let's check Alien Crush. Let's try a different game. Moving on to the NES part. And there were even some weird, like say, Chinese version games on there. Nevertheless, let's take a close look what's going on. Let's see if we can actually get into the game. Oh! No, we can't. We are squashed by the freaking car. Another thing I just wanted to see what we can actually fix is getting into, let's say, the bezel, because the bezel is quite unfortunate that everything looks messed up. So another thing I also noticed in the menu itself that we don't have any pictures with the NES part. So, you know, even with some stuff doesn't even boot up, we don't have anything going on. Let's go to BIOS settings, Advanced Systems. Let's see if we can fix this. So far, I don't see anything going on when it comes to, let's say, better improvement. No, not really. With Sega CD, I love that there are most of the time like 2 games on here. Even this thing has like a 256 gigabyte storage capacity. Yep, Mega CD. Going to be playing my favorite game, some Final Fight. Yeah. But this is the only game I'm always playing on my Sega CD. Seriously, like I have a Sega CD that costs a fortune. I'm just playing Final Fight CD. In the end, I'm going to be playing some games. I think it's absolutely worth it if you have like 2 games you're going to be playing, let's say, quite often. And you're going to be spending like quite a lot of money on an original system. But again, this is like fun to actually revisit. It's going to be widescreen shenanigans again. Also, the controller is very comfortable for navigating when it comes to the D-pad, so that's great. But so far, emulation performance is just great when it comes to all of the basic stuff that we tested out so far. And we do nowadays have Sega Dreamcast emulation on these game sticks. That's kind of cool, and the overall performance is surprisingly good. I must say I've been seeing a lot of game sticks throughout the years with a lot of struggles, but they managed to actually have the Sega Dreamcast to a point that it is playable. So that's kind of cool. Take consideration if you have like the 256 gigabytes SD card, I think you're going to be needing an even bigger one if these things are actually supporting it. With the simple reason because these, let's say, Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation games take up a lot of space. Project Justice. I just wanted to do a testing of a different game with Sega Dreamcast to see how good this one runs, because they had a lot of problems in the past. And so far, so good. But let's see what's going on. Oh, let's see what's going on. We have a Bibatsu. I did play Rival Schools a lot. Well, let's see, can we have Sakura? Oh, but wait. You have like 3 the same characters in a game? What the heck is going on? But I just wanted to see how the overall performance of this particular game is, with a simple reason because I have seen a lot of struggles, and you can see it struggles. It's quite unfortunate getting into the game. Kind of interesting that in the beginning it didn't have any problems, but now it's absolutely, but it's just a nightmare. Oh! And this is what I mean with Dreamcast and N64 is really pushing this device to its limit. Ultimate move! What? Let's do it again. Go down. What? I do notice that when it comes to the games itself, some of them have still like some different regions. It's quite unfortunate. But, you know, let's look at it from a PlayStation Portable with some TNT races to see how actually good or bad this runs. That intro music, that's really funny. It seems to be that the save function is working, so that's great. Let's press select and start. We can actually make a quick load crochet. Everything is a freaking different language. Oh man. You know, that's one of the annoying things they keep doing, you know. Why not put everything in English and just fix it? And I noticed that with the game stick through, like say reviewing most of them, not only like emulation performance, it's like a pain in the ass to get these things like perfect. Like how difficult is it just to fix everything? But let's see what's going on. Also the configuration of the buttons is completely wrong. It doesn't match the controller, and when it comes to the controls I'm using, it's like really a mess. You can see that the gameplay is really choppy. The reason I chose for TNT Race because this is one of those games that are less emulation problematic, but oh man. Also the sensitivity of the buttons, come on. Oh crap. I mess up. Can we actually use the joystick? Yep, we can do that. But so far so good. It is playable when it comes to PlayStation Portable, but don't try in God of War because that is not going to be running anytime soon. How can I actually use the power-ups? Oh wait, I can use it. Oh! It's kind of funny that you do have a lot of difference in audio quality, but also audio levels. So I just wanted to check in quick game at Cruise in the World, because all of the stuff like Blast Corps, many games I tried before didn't really work out. But I just wanted to see, can we actually find something that is playable? The same situation like with the PlayStation Portable. And it seems to be that there are actually games this way configured that they're actually playable on this cheap game stick. So yeah, it is actually possible. It's really super pixelated. For the people who just wanted to see, can it actually run some more demanding games? I was thinking, you know, let's grab myself some GoldenEye. I can count the pixels, seriously. That's how bad it is. Okay, let's see. Not like glitching. Oh, you know, it's even having a frame drop. I'm actually shooting. This is really bad. But they did map the controls like it should be, so we can actually play this game like it should be when it comes to control wise. Let's go up. But getting through the game, it's interesting. You can see like it's glitching like crazy, but it is playable to a certain point. Where a lot of 32-bit systems is just on hot mess and is not playable in many different ways. So one of the positive side is that with the PlayStation 1 we do have the sticks now that can play. I think from the start of most PlayStation game or 4K game stick had the option to play PlayStation 1. So yeah, I think it's absolutely an amazing system with many good titles. It's run on native resolution, meaning that it's going to be pixelated. I wouldn't really recommend testing this out on like a 55-inch television because that is not going to be the nostalgia trip you're going to be having. It's going to be looking absolutely hideous. But so far, you can actually see performance-wise, this is just great. With some Need for Speed. Quick test of some arcade games because this is a system that they mess up a lot. But so far I can just see in here there is no problem with the overall emulation performance with one of my favorite games, Blood Bros. I just wanted to try some random game, DJ Boy. I've played a lot on the Sega Genesis, but you can see that it does need a little bit of time to boot up. But I was wondering if there's going to be any problems going forward. You had some weird glitching going on. I don't know if it's going to be normal. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. There is no screen. So, you know, actually that is one of the things that do happen if you're going to be booting up games. They didn't check anything. Man, what a mess. And it is also stuck in the freaking game. Now I need to unplug this bloody thing. Oh, great. But if you just want to play some 8-bit, 16-bit stuff, this is not going to be a problem at all. I have noticed, like with some of the game sticks, some problems, but it was not particularly this one. But what's kind of weird, at first the Dreamcast was running quite well, but later on it had some issues. Can it be emulation problems? Yep, it is. But it can also be something going on with the cooling. These sticks are getting really hot. I think that is another problem we're having when it comes to these devices. So let's remove this SD card and let's open it up. Let's get myself a prior tool. And sometimes it's also going to be a nightmare, but I just also want to do a little bit of peek in the inside. Always need to be careful with this to see you're not going to be messing it up to a point that it's going to be irreparable. I was like, where can I squeeze in my prior tool to get this thing opened up? There we go. Obviously be very careful with this. Let's see if I can be very careful and then open it up like that. Come on! Oh! I have some bag full of tools with pry tools from AliExpress. These things are like super cheap, but like absolutely great. Let's rip it here. There we go. That's not a good idea. I would not recommend doing that at home. But for purpose of a review, we're going to be doing that because I don't have any patience with stuff like this. Oh, okay. So they did implement a piece of metal. So that's a start to begin with, because that was something they didn't do before. So what kind of chip we're getting today? The S905 Emulation L. I think this, yeah, it already says over here, quad core. But I can put in spec list, but in the end what we're getting is some really old school stuff. This is what we've seen with the first generation of Super Console X. Nothing fancy, but we do have like a piece of metal for cooling. Yeah. So at this point we do see many improvements. However, you can still see they have like a lot of mistakes that made in the previous models, and they're still doing now. With the crappy SD card, I don't understand. At least get some decent Chinese card that is not getting corrupted, because this is like an overall general problem with many of these devices nowadays. So the game stick itself, they added like a piece of metal to at least give it a little bit of cooling, but these things are like frying up. I would not be surprised, besides SD card, this is going to be another issue we're going to be having. So controller wise, indeed an improvement. No rumble, it's like a super basic control, but we can add a new control with MULX, so that's a good thing. So there's still a way of they need to improve this in many different ways. A lot of software issues. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a better idea what you're getting with these devices. Also, it's more like a warning about that. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.